place is Estnes. It's the southernmost part of the island that's called Eysturoy, literally East Island. Not Easter Island, mind you. No stone heads, only metal heads here. I'm looking across at Tórshavn, you can see there. It's about 5 kilometers over there. So driving at 80 kilometers an hour would take me 3 minutes and 45 seconds if the ocean were frozen, mind you. But the ocean never really freezes here, maybe just a thin layer at the bottom of the fjord. But to drive there as it is, I would have to go north to the bridge between Eysturoy and Streymoy and then south again. And that would take me about an hour from here. But they're making a 3-legged subterranean tunnel with a subterranean roundabout, and that will reduce the travel time to about 17 minutes. And looking over, I must say, I'm really looking forward to that. I'll be in Tórshavn all the time. They're going to get sick of me over there. Don't you ever go home? Or something. But seriously, the subject I want to talk about today is intellectual property rights and YouTube. Kota is the Danish national publishing company, and they're a daughter company of the Nordic Copyright Bureau. And they administer my rights to the music and text I've written. They gather airplay information and payment internationally in cooperation with similar companies in other countries. They even send me a newsletter every now and then, and sometimes it's important stuff. For example, this latest one with an article by their CEO about the European Union's legislation for music streaming services and social media platforms and their responsibility for uploaded content that should be covered by copyright laws, but really isn't. The law that is in effect at the moment is from 2001, and that was before there even was such a thing as streaming. It states that YouTube, Facebook and similar services are neutral platforms, and they hold no responsibility for what people upload. So they don't have to pay anything to right holders of copyrighted materials. They still arrange, compile and recommend the music content in precisely the same way as streaming services such as Spotify and Apple. So they don't really behave like a neutral platform. YouTube does pay a very low fee, while claiming that because of the law they actually don't have to pay anything. I see that on my statement from the Nordic Copyright Bureau, a bit of money from YouTube, but it's a very small share. According to a survey in Denmark, about a third of all streamed music is on YouTube. And I think it's fair to assume that the number will not be radically different for the rest of Europe and the US. The share from YouTube that I see on my statements is nowhere near a third. It's more like a 300th or a 3,000th. And it's a massive amount of streaming that pays the right owners nothing, and they compete also unfairly with services who actually do have to pay, like Spotify and iTunes. And I don't think that's right. Facebook doesn't pay a cent. I've never seen Facebook mentioned on any of the statements I've got. It may seem counterproductive to criticize YouTube here on YouTube, but I should add that I really like the service and I use it every day, sometimes also for music, because it's very convenient. But I mainly get my music through iTunes, where I pay for it. And music I really like, I try to buy on CD. YouTube and Facebook are effectively hiding behind outdated legislation. The European Union is in the process of revising the legislation, and it may happen within this year that the new legislation is put into effect. The relevant text in the current legal suggestion reads, and I quote, "Where information society service providers store and provide access to the public to copyright protected works or other subject matter uploaded by their users, thereby going beyond the mere provision of physical facilities and performing an act of communication to the public, they are obliged to conclude licensing agreements with right holders." End quote. So that means unless the platform is really completely neutral, something like SoundCloud, I would imagine, they will have to negotiate an agreement with the right holders. And hardworking and struggling and insanely talented songwriters like me would be paid a fair bit more. So if you wish fair circumstances for your favorite musicians and bands, then please go to www.makeinternetfair.eu and sign the petition. Let's put a bit of pressure on the European Union to force platforms to recognize creators' rights to be paid when their works are reproduced. If you're in the UK though, congratulations, this will soon not be your problem. I shouldn't make fun, but seriously, I'm also outside the European Union here, but it still affects me greatly what law is in effect at the moment. I noticed when Humfair's album was released on Metal Blade a few weeks ago, they upload the full album to YouTube themselves, and I understand that decision very well. It'll be uploaded by someone anyway, and the label or bands might as well do it themselves to at least get the traffic and a bit of ads income. I can't even upload Týr's music to YouTube myself. Apparently there's a search robot that flags it as copyrighted material, and it won't be visible in Germany and some other countries, so far as I understand, and the videos cannot be monetized. It may be interesting to know that the creative industries are the third largest in Europe measured by workforce. 7 million Europeans work in the creative industries. If this problem in the music industry isn't fixed, then other branches of creation may follow, and platforms claiming to be neutral on the same grounds as YouTube and Facebook currently do may arise and undermine creators' ways of getting paid and making a living. I'm not sure I should mention this next part, but I'll do it. It's a very personal issue, and I guess most people have the feeling it's not something to be publicly debated, how much they earn and what their financial circumstances are. There's some pretending that it's going okay financially, but it's really not. It feels a bit shameful when you've reached a level that I have and still have nothing real to show for it, other than the music I made. There have been some attempts in the Faroes to make a musicians' union, but they've all failed, and for obvious reasons, I think. It's not money that makes anyone get into music or any kind of art. It's not as if I can stop doing this because I'm not paid enough. It's in my nature and in my personality, and I have a very strong urge to do this, and I can't imagine doing anything else. The most appealing part for me is the songwriting. Making music that I'm satisfied with gives me a profound feeling of meaningfulness and purpose and utility. It's one of the most uplifting ways I can imagine spending my time. At the moment, I have the feeling we're making an album that is the same quality and feeling as our album Ragnarok, which was released on Napalm Records in 2006, 12 years ago. Very thoroughly worked through and carefully composed. I've still not written the text for the 6th song. I've been busy with management stuff and preparing drum recordings. I'll also be teaching at Unge Førjun next weekend. It's a course for young artists, musicians, writers, painters and other areas. And over 3 days my workshop will produce a work of music that will be set up with other forms of art, such as light, photography, dance, etc. And it's fascinating work, and I look very much forward to it. I've done it once before, and it was exhausting and quite illuminating. This will be performed on Sunday, the 18th of February, and the next morning I fly to Denmark for drum recordings. Honestly, the best thing I ever did career-wise was register my songs with Koda and the Nordic Copyright Bureau. But it doesn't pay enough at the moment to support a rock star's life of luxury. And it's been a few years since the latest album, so sales, streaming and airplay are obviously not that great at the moment. I once tried to surrender my rights to Napalm Records. We owe them a lot of money, but thankfully, because of Danish law, it turned out to be impossible. So sometimes, I guess it's okay to be Danish. I would be even worse off in that case than I am now. I'd most likely not be doing this anymore. I honestly don't see how. I would simply starve to death. Being in studio doesn't pay anything, and I've been in studio for years now. I get a few $10 or a few $100 from sharing these videos to Patreon, and a few dollars from a few $10 from Google AdSense for ads on my YouTube channel. I teach a bit, but it's usually too time consuming, and when I've given the same lesson 10 times, I usually just make a YouTube video so I don't have to repeat myself. It tends to drive me crazy to teach different students the same thing over and over. There are basically 4 modes of income for bands who write their own music. It's songwrites, as I've just talked about, CD sales, merch sales, and concerts. We have no merch at the moment, but we will have as soon as the album is released and we go on tour. I was just watching the Danish Eurovision yesterday, and it appears they cut out the musicians to save money. All music is playback now, and I thought, yes, that's the solution to the world's entertainment problems. Those damn greedy musicians shoveling in the money at the expense of the general public. Well, calm down again. I have at the moment the script for about 10 YouTube videos, and the first guitar video I'll make as soon as I have the time will be about how to get a clean tone. It's a very important subject that I care a lot about, and about which I have a lot to say. It's also a lesson I see a lot of beginner and intermediate guitarists need, so stay tuned for that. Then of course I'll make videos demonstrating the solos on the upcoming album as soon as I'm done with them. Alright. Enough for now, I think. I want to thank everybody who helped me out with my view count on YouTube over the last few weeks. It made a great difference for me, and I'm over the 4,000 hours mark now. Please like or dislike this video, just don't leave it neutral, and leave a comment. Tell me where you listen to music. Do you pay for it? Why or why not? It really helps me because YouTube's algorithm suggests videos with high interaction, good or bad. Please support me on Patreon. If you can, go to patreon.com/Heri Joensen and take a look at how it works. Please like my Facebook page. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Snapchat, and VK. I'm most active on Facebook, but you'll find me on the other platforms as well from time to time. If you need to reach me for some reason, then my Facebook page is the place to do it. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Cheers.